hands if you've never seen me before, all the way up. Let me see. All the way up, please. Okay, so one of the things I was going to do is I was going to give a huge speech about how to make tons of money and how to do this and all that kind of stuff. I'll do it very small portion of that, and then I'll talk about what am I doing in 2016, how am I helping people, and what is it that I do, and what we do as a PIC, as an organization like PIC, and where are we going, and how are we making the next 95 millionaires? How are we going to do that? Now, when I'm talking about millionaires, of course, a guy like Nan, who is way up there, what I'm talking to him is that how do you make 1 more million then for being that? Now, raise your hands if you want to become at least a millionaire in the next 12 months. In just 12 months. Okay, so if you want to become a millionaire in the next 12 months, can somebody from this side tell me what would it take? What is it that you need? What would it take to become a millionaire? Just no more BS, no more just education and none of that stuff. I'm hopping here to there. What will it take for you? What's stopping you in this area? Tell me, what's stopping you from being a millionaire? What is it? Anybody that wants to share and be in the spotlight? Maybe the person who does talk is really going to be a millionaire in the next 12 months. So, okay, let's talk to Alex. See, he didn't wait. Go ahead, Alex. What do you need to become a millionaire? Really, what is it needed?
Okay, I need knowledge from a real estate millionaire in order to become a real estate millionaire.
He needs a knowledge from a real estate millionaire to become a real estate millionaire. Let's give her a hand. Give him a hand. Yeah. This side. Yes, ma'am. She needs the first deal. That's it. That's it. She needs someone to hold her hand and get there. There you go. Awesome. See, none of that stuff that I want to make 100 million and become billionaire. I want my first deal. Just want to know how to do that. Okay. All right. Let's talk about this side. Yes, sir. Stand up. You need connections to grow. Absolutely. Let's give them a hand. Let's give them a hand. This side. This side. Anybody wants to be a millionaire this side? Yes. Okay. The lady in the back, please. Stand up. Go ahead. Just yell it. Tell it. Okay. Multi-millionaire. And what's stopping you? What do you need? What do you need to become multi-millionaire? Oh, she doesn't know. So she doesn't know what she doesn't know. That's okay. That's okay. Give her a hand. That's awesome. Yes, sir. Bigger balls. Yes, sir. Absolutely. The right mindset. Let's give these guys a hand. Let's do that. Let's not stop. All right. So it's all of the above, no questions about that. One thing I want to tell you is this. About 10 years ago, my wife comes to me. I'm a platoon commander of the Ontario Provincial Police, and I was prior to that police negotiator and a detective. So I'm getting to this ladder of police to the next level because it's just something I love. I just love doing all this kind of stuff. People want to jump off the bridge and they didn't know what to call. They would call me to say, hey, why are you jumping off the bridge? And somebody wanted to negotiate something and they would call people and they would call me as a detective, say, hey, get the statement from this guy and blah, blah, blah. So I'm enjoying my job. I'm enjoying the work. I'm enjoying everything. And one day my wife comes to me. One day my wife comes to me and says, we're having a divorce. My daughter is 5 at that point, and my son is around 10 or 11 years old. And I'm sitting there, and I said to myself, the most important person in my life, the most important thing in my life is my wife and my children. Then the call comes. Say, hey, can you do a 12-hour night shift? And I promised my wife and kids that we're going to do something or whatever it is. And the first thing the phone call comes, I was out the door. Boom. And again, and again, and again. 16 hours, 18 hours. So my action were contradicting what I was saying. And I thought for a year that my wife was crazy. And what did she think? Who was crazy? I was crazy, okay? And we fought. And one day she comes to me and says, we're having a divorce. And in a family where I came from is quite conservative, parents from India, we just don't have divorces. It's just not something that you do, especially if you have kids. Just don't do that stuff. I mean, there are times that people should get divorced. But in this case, it was because of my job. So I went to my friends, buddies, and say, what should I do? And the advice was, how many years have you been on? I said, 15. They go, you know what, just stick around for another 15 years. You should be fine. And I said, wait a minute, let me look at your lifestyle. And guess what? After 7, 8, 9 years of being in the policing, they were on their second, third, fourth relationships. Okay? So if you really want to have a great relationship, is policing the best profession for you? The answer is no. So I'm sitting around, I'm saying, I just want to do this and all that stuff. So I went to my boss and I said, boss, I'm having some family issues and just can't even concentrate anymore at work. Can you give me 12 months off, unpaid, and I just want my position back if I just don't make it in case. What was I looking for at the end of the day? Yeah, security crutch, a net. You know, I went to this guy called T. Harv Eker, and we're sitting in this 3-day event, and in the event, they make you do certain things and to kill your fear. And in there, I said to quit my job was the biggest fear ever. And in there's a breakthrough that you do, and that's what I did. And what I did was I said to my boss, 12 months, and they said, in the history of the entire Ontario Provincial Police, since the existence, no one had the guts, nowhere it came to us and said, let me off for 12 months, let me try something else. If it works out, I'll quit, and if it doesn't, I want not only my job, but I want my position that I'm in. And my bosses said, oh, we don't even want to try that. We don't even want to ask that because that's ridiculous. You're going to ask something like that. So I said, please try it. And I fought it. And it actually went all the way to the highest level, came down, and it came down to one thing. I said, with all due respect, either you do this or I quit. My boss said to me, okay, I'll try. They went try and came back. And my boss said to me, before they approved it, they said, we know you're going to come back. Thank God he said that. Because no one tells you that you can't do this, right? And I got 12 months. Start, the alarm, the clock goes tick, 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 tick. And every hour meant a lot to me because I knew I had 12 months. Nan talked about the why. People said to me, what was your flipping? How do you go from policing to this? How do you do that? How do you become a public speaker? I'm telling you from all my life, I was a shy guy. If you get me in front of 5 people and say, can you say something for 10 seconds, I would shiver. All my life, I did that. Shy, quiet, and not very active in the world of business. So I said, I'm going to go. So I said, I got to do it. 12 months left. So the why is the most important part. And if you don't have the why, bring a why into your life where you need to make it happen. Because when that happens, you're not going to find reasons. I was just talking to a gentleman right now. He's got a reason for everything that why it's not going to work out. You can show them 20 people who made money, and they'll find you 20 people, 40 people, 80 people, 100 people who didn't make money. When I was going through this 12-month period, my dad, my uncle, my family, my friends, everybody said, don't quit your secure job. If there's any job in the world, it's the government job. Don't give it up. My cousin, who was a lawyer, used to send me almost every week an article from around the world why real estate is a bad investment. So he would sit down, hunt down all the bad articles around the world and why real estate was bad and send it to me. My uncle, my dad's brother, who I respect, he would come to me and said, son, sit down. What are you doing? You're going to lose everything. My dad came to me and said, look, it sounds really cool that my son is a cop. Now I got to go tell people you're real estate what? Investor? He goes, what the hell is real estate investor in first place? And he was doing all this. And then I tell you one thing that really pissed me off the most was this. He would go to temple every day. He would go to temple every day and pray that I fail. Pray that I fail. So there's two things that happened to Sunil that said, yeah, I'll show you. One, my boss said, we know you're going to come back. And my dad says, I'm going to pray that you're going back to work. Now, my wife, we're going to divorce my kids, parents, the world, the people, the friends, my cop friends, my uncles, almost the entire world was saying, don't do it. And the only reason I stuck around is because I said none of those people matter if I say the family is the most important part. Time to own up. Time to do it now. And I stuck around when people say you can't do it. I used to go to networking events and throw 20 cards on tables and meet people. I did not know what networking meant. What is networking? Some guy came to me and said, you're a great networker. I said, what the hell is that? They said, you're a great networker. And then somebody came to me and said, you're a great speaker. You walk around all the place. Where do you get the energy? I said, I don't know. I just talk. So if you want me to talk about engineering, I get up here, I wouldn't really know what to say. But I know how to make money in real estate. And I know how to help people make money in real estate. That's something that I think was channeled down from somewhere above. It's not something that I studied. I wasn't reading books all over the place. I wasn't doing anything that a lot of people say, go study, do this, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't doing none of that stuff. Just said, I got to do it, get out of my way. Bank said, you can't get the money. I said, get out of my way. I had about 40 to 50 banks I went to until the one said, yes, we'll lend you the money. Okay? First bank said no. My own bank said, you're crazy. You can't have it. My neighbor says you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. So what I found was that energy is coming in, and I don't know what law of attraction was at that time, but when I saw the DVD Secret, now I said I knew what I was doing then. And the biggest thing that I was doing is to provide $2 million value for $1 million cash that I would get. Provide $2 million value for $1 million. That is your motto to make lots of money. If you give, because to go back 100 years, I got 20 goats, you got 10 cows. You give me 10 cows, I give you 20 goats. And then you go to another one, 10 cows, 40 goats. Wow. Nobody says, oh, but then the money comes in. Then it's like selfish, it's dirty, it's bad, too much money. No. Why don't we start thinking that I am providing the best value on this planet to exchange? Not give it away, but exchange. So if I give you this mic, and you need this mic, and I can get you the best service for this, then you giving me the money is your privilege to do business with me. If you are getting double the service, then it's your privilege. If you have clients, if you have customers, if you're a real estate agent, mortgage broker, a real estate investor, whatever it is, whoever you're looking for, those people's, it's their privilege to work with you. It's their privilege to work with you. And what I mean by that is this. If you go after people, this is your client, and this is you. If you go after people, they tend to go away from you. If you stay here and set yourself as a credible person, they come to you. And then they say to you, please, take me on. I have to tell you, I get nasty emails. I get nasty emails from different people sometimes, because I would say, I probably have spoken in front of, across Canada, USA, all the kind of, maybe 500,000 people. And the emails that I got from some of my clients, do you not like me? What do you mean? The other day, you said you were going to sell me something, and you didn't sell it to me. Why did you sell it to this guy and not me? Why did you not do a joint venture with me? Is there something wrong with me? So it's the client coming to you, fighting to work with you is the secret. You are the magnet to either attract good people to your life or attract shit to your life, poop to your life. And my father, my uncles and all that stuff, what they're doing perhaps was good when they went through wars and tough times and bad people and fighting and not having enough money and stuff like that. Even today, they worry about where they're going to get next meal when my father is financially free. I have to tell you something. My father is the one who said to me, Sunil, we never, here's my biggest advice for you. And the biggest advice I can give you. I said, what's that? He said, you never, ever, 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 ever buy a house that you live in. You rent. You know why you rent? Because you can get up and go anytime you want. No responsibilities. So why buy a house? You know, you got to deal with taxes and the government and property taxes and insurance and mortgage and blah, blah, blah. Why not just pay a rent to somebody and then let the owner be responsible for all that kind of shit? And I said, okay, Dad. And, you know, until I became a police officer, we never bought a house. In 1992, my dad and I were hunting for a house. We came in 1981 from New Delhi, India. And I was like 14 years old, 13 years old. And my dad, we came to Canada, and they told me as a child that the streets were paved with gold in Canada. Okay? And for the last 6 months that I was about to come here, I was every day almost, I dreamed of buying a hammer and a chisel. And I dreamed really that I was walking at 12 o'clock at night and just going to the streets and just digging out the gold, because that's where the Canadian dream is, right? I show up, of course, it's asphalt. I'm like, what the hell? We show up here, and my dad saved every penny. I'm talking about turn off the lights here, don't eat there, never eat outside. What a waste of money. Go to Byway. Does anybody know Byway? Anybody here? Honested? Okay, Honested was our hangout place. Okay, Nobel Farms and all that kind of stuff. In fact, we went to places where we bought groceries, where we go at the end of the grocery store, and the old vegetables that are half price or donuts that were half price, that's what we picked up. Even though we had the money, but we want to save money. You want to save money. My dad saved money for 2 years. He saved money. He had about $12,000. In his life, he then calculated $12,000 in rupees. In those days, it was 7 rupees. $12,000, that's 140, about over 100,000 rupees. And he said, man, I am in India, they say it's like millionaire in India, but in rupees, okay? It's not a lot, but in those days, in 81, okay, 82, it was still a lot of money, $12,000. And he would just walk, and I said, Dad, we gotta buy a house. We gotta buy a house. We ganged up on him. My mom, my brother, my sister, we all ganged up on him and said, look, we live in this shitty apartment, because when you come to this, in the 80s especially, when you come as an immigrant family, you have really a place, there's only certain places you live in where you can pay $400 in an apartment or a basement or something like that. Well, that's where we lived basically most of the time. I said, let's just move out of this. So we went and hired a real estate agent for 2-3 months, and you real estate agents would hate us because we were just like, we have no car, and my dad's like, we're going on a trip today. Really? Where are we going, Dad? Well, we're going to see a house. I said, with who? So-and-so. And the guy had a nice Lincoln, I remember, beautiful car, and he would drive us, and we would look at it and say, no, that's not what we want. It was like a game. So finally, my dad, who his mindset was we never buy, we went to the point where we went all the way, almost like 99%, and we pulled out. Something happened. Finally, we get a house at Royal York and Queensway area. Not the best area, but better than where we were living at. A detached house, motivated seller, bank re-owned, slightly damaged, $6,000 given by the government to fix it in those days. $26,000. $12,000 my dad had. $6,000 is the government is going to give. Okay, and we're like, finally, Dad. My dad's like, okay, this is what we're going to do. First floor, we're going to live on it. Second floor, we're going to rent it out. I said, Dad, there's no separate stairs to that. He goes, it's okay. We can live it. We can separate. And then in the basement, we're going to fix it, and we're going to get that too. And then this way, we're going to make. We said, okay, let's just buy the house first. Let's just buy the house. I'm sorry, it was $27,000, the price tag. So my dad goes to the agent. I want $1,000 off. $1,000, because I think It's too expensive. A 3 bedroom, almost finished basement, second floor upstairs in 1983. It was not very expensive. But he said, look, I think it's expensive. The agent goes, look, we really worked hard on this. Okay, I don't think the guy's gonna do it. I think they're gonna. My dad's like, no, 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 no. $1,000, and my dad's like, you watch. He's gonna come back. Next day, sorry, that house is sold. It wasn't meant to be. My stars are not lined up. That's it. And then that was the drop where he said, you know what this means? What this means is that God does not want me to buy a house. And I always knew that. God doesn't want me to. I have people who come to my office and they get into an accident or they get into something like, God doesn't want me to do this. God doesn't want me to do that. You know what? God is with you with whatever you plan to do for you. God is with you with whatever you plan to do for you. You cannot just sit down and just pray and just sit there and do nothing. It doesn't work that way. What that does do, the prayer or the visualization or affirmations, is to kick your butt when you get into a situation and now you have to take action, and you take action or not. That's why you do all these affirmations. That's why you have the goals, because otherwise you become an expert in kicking out the same very successful people that come into your life once in a while. You become successful in becoming the person that actually kicks them out of your life subconsciously. You actually are planning to kick these. What about you become successful in attracting these people in your life, saying, wow, and then saying, what do they need? Let's connect. What do I have to do to connect with this person? And don't take a no for an answer. That's what it is. Whereas if you are thinking about, you lent somebody $10,000 10 years ago, that person loses the $10,000. You go, oh my God, I lost my $10,000. You're bitter for a few years, and then 10 years later, you forgot about that. One day, another buddy comes to you and says, hey, we got this great deal, $10,000. You know what? It takes them like poof, back to that subconsciously, and the person says, let me think about it. Maybe. We'll see. And they don't do it. But they don't even know sometimes that that's what happened. You see people shaking on locks to make sure 10 times to make sure the lock. My dad, he almost hangs off on the door before he heads out to make sure the door is locked. And I said, Dad, door is locked. He goes, wait, let me just check. Something must have happened when he was young. He probably forgot to lock the door. Something happened, and somebody said, you're not capable of doing that. And now he grows up. A grown man gets up, and every time he heads out, he has to shake the doorknob or whatever it is to make sure that it's locked 10 times. That's his way of doing it. Otherwise, it's not done. I had an officer friend who would put the gun and the bullets in his locker, and he would open the door, close it. Open the door and close it. Open the door and close it 3 times, and then lock it. And I asked him after I got to know him, I said, well, what is that supposed to be? He goes, you know what, I tracked it down. And when I was young, blah, 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 that's what happened. I forgot. My mom told me that you're worthless because you were given one task, and that task was that you were to lock this up, and you did not do it. And all his life, he didn't know why he did it. When I asked him, he went back, and he thought about it, and he said, that's where he can see. I'm talking about 40-year-old man, goes back to 32 years back, 8-year-old child, and that's how far it went for him. Okay? We are those people that carry stuff that we don't know we're carrying it right now. My dad, there's this mentality, when you give him a cup of milk or tea, it has to be to the top. It cannot be a little bit lower. I don't know what it is. Maybe in the past it was a scarcity that if you don't get a cup, it was an insult or something. And so here's my dad. He likes to drink hot milk. So he takes the cold milk, puts it into the microwave, right? And boils it. And guess what happens every time he boils it? The milk is almost on the top, and it boils off and falls off, and just, right? And we say, oh, and he goes, oh, again? I said, Dad, you filled the milk up. Again? And then he takes the cup from the microwave, and he's taking it like this. And he's dropping it, pissing my mom off completely, right? And then my mom, again? And then my dad's like, it's not my fault. It's too hot. There's a story about young elephant. To train them, they put a chain on his feet and they tie it to the biggest and thickest tree around. And the elephant just keeps kicking, and he can't get away. As he gets growing bigger and bigger, he's stronger and smarter and all that stuff. They take the biggest tree and they put a stake in the ground and they put a little flimsy rope to his feet just to say, you're not going anywhere, and the elephant doesn't go anywhere. Elephant doesn't go anywhere. In fact, what happened was there was a zoo where they had elephants tied to a tent that you and I can carry with one hand if we needed to. Fire broke out. All the elephants died crying, but did not go anywhere, did not move. How many of us continue to do the same thing? How many of us have that, right? So just realize anything you do, if it's not taking you to where you want to go, realize that that's the fact. Realize that every time you have a successful person come into your life, you tend to say, something's wrong with them. There's something wrong. Let's just dig some shit on this person and find out what's wrong rather than how many people have been helped. Let's just find a reason why this won't work out. Let's just find that. Or do what I did. I had 26 handwritten notes. I, Sunil Tulsiani, will make $1 million by the end of the year. Signed it, dated it, and hand wrote it, and I put it all over the place in my house. It sounded very stupid. It was very stupid and all that. My wife came along that day, and then she started ripping everything off because we cannot allow people to come into our home and make it look like this. So I said, okay, Dad, okay, how do we do it? So she said, you can put it on the fridge, and you can put it in the washroom. Raise your hands if you spend time in the washroom every day. Raise your hands all the way up. Okay, thank you. So I'm there, and so what I do is, what do? I said, okay, what do? So I became very creative. The cupboards I open, left, right, boom. So every time I open the cupboards, it's right there staring at me. When you go into your closet, I moved my shirts, and in the back, I put the paper because no guest is going to see that. But if I'm looking for my shirt that day, what I want to tell you is this. It is looking at me. I know it sounds crazy. The energy from that paper with those words are looking at me. The stuff that you write, like life is bitch on a sticker, it is looking at you. And if you find you're not getting stuff and life is truly bitch for you, because you're creating that environment. You're creating that environment. So if you have stuff in your closet right now that doesn't support you, it is sucking the energy away from you every time you walk into your home, especially when you walk into your closet. It's sucking it away. And you feel like something is not right. If you get the wrong energy, it will suck it away. If you get the right energy, it's beautiful. So create a beautiful energy for yourself. So I wrote all that stuff, and I said, I will do that. And every day I looked at it. What's another thing I did? I repeated sometimes 1,000 times a day, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I'm brushing, shaving, whatever it is, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. That's all I did. If you looked at me from a window through a scope or something like that, you think I'm crazy because I'm just talking to myself. I'm a millionaire. I'm looking at the mirror saying, I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire, but that I am a millionaire. So, the first year, how many of you know how many properties I did first year? Raise your hands. All the way up. Okay. So you guys are not eligible for this then? Tell me, if you had to guess, how many properties did I do the first 12 months? Can somebody tell me? Okay, well, here's what I'll do. But you're not allowed to cheat. You're not allowed to cheat. And do I have the last gold? Okay, I have one more gold note. So I'm going to give you a gold note if you guess it, but you're not allowed to repeat if you already know, because that's cheating. Yes, sir. How do you know 77? Now, how do you know? 77? Surely you didn't know? Okay, let's give him a hand. It was exactly 77. Wow. And my goal was to make $1 million, and I made $980,000 in 12 months. Do you think I was crying that day? No? Yes, and can you tell me what I did with my $20,000 cash? If you already know, don't answer that. Pardon me? I did not, because my former colleagues, when I went to see them, started to see me differently. And when I went to see them, I went to see my police buddies. Thank you very much for bringing this up. Went to the police buddies and they say, hey, let's have go. And they say, we're going for beers every second Thursday. Why the hell did we go to beers every second Thursday? Payday. That's right. It was a payday. We went there, and what I realized when I left the police force within 6 months and I was becoming very successful is when I sat with the 20 people and they said, life's a bitch. The other day I stopped this guy. This guy, the weather's bad. Did you see the guy killed? Did you see the bombing? Did you see the? And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, I don't belong here anymore because everything was about bitching about the world. Very negative, okay? And when they came to me, and we went around the circle, and we were drinking or whatever, and then came to me, and they said, what about you? I said, oh my God, let me tell you, I just made $100,000 the other day, and I sold da da da. And then all of them were like, okay, so they just skipped me. They're like, you're crazy. And then I realized that I can't be part of that group anymore. So here's the other thing. If you have people in your life that are sucking energy away, then do whatever you think you have to do. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry? Oh, yes, so two questions. What did my dad say? What did I do with $20,000? I got $20,000 in $20 bills, and I put it on the bed, and I rolled around with it. Yes, you can clap. Yeah. Yeah, I know you guys were thinking something deep, right? You're like, oh my God, he's going to donate and all that stuff. No, I did not donate at that time. Donation and and giving money away came after. In fact, my big growth came when I truly believed what I was saying, because I was saying, I'll be honest with you, the first 2 years, I was saying to people, I like to help people. I want to give away. I want to give back to society. I want to do this. And you know why I was saying that? Because I read it in the books. And I really, truly did not mean that. What I really meant was, I want to make money. I want to sell you stuff. I want to make money. The day that I switched, and here's what happens. When you keep repeating even the stuff that is not true today, when you keep repeating it to yourself, it becomes the truth for you eventually. And one day, when I did something for somebody and there was like, wow, I helped all these people and they're so happy. When people stop me in the mall and say, you don't know me, but I came to your seminar. I came to your seminar 5 years ago. And I was doing this. I became a real estate agent. And today, my husband is making more than $1 million. I really want to thank you. I'm like, where have you been? Where have you been? Why don't you? They just went in and it just switched. And then we have people here that consistently come because they realize networking and all that stuff is important. So what does my dad say now is the question over there. My dad says to me that, son, money is not everything in the life. Money doesn't bring happiness. Money is sometimes dirty. And too much money can be a bad thing. Little bit of money is okay. And he says to me, son, I'm retired now. I need $2,500 to live with your mom, and I can live lavishly. And when I say they're financially free, I don't mean they're rich. What I mean is they got a place to live where it's paid for. And what I mean is they make more than $2,500 a month without working. And what I see my dad do today, after retirement, is the stuff that I didn't see all my life, which is taking my mom out for lunch. Yes. So I've shifted his mind a little bit. But he will say, honey, we're going to this restaurant, and can you cut that coupon? And it's $7.97. So we're going to order one plate so we both can share, because I think it's enough portion. This is what he does all the time. Yes, it's a huge improvement. So I made money. I lied to myself that I want to help people, and eventually I knew I want to help people, and my growth came after I truly was helping people. And what I'm saying to you today is this. Private Investment Club came out from the necessity of one thing and one thing only, and that was this. every place I went, almost every place I went, what the guru I found was doing was saying to me, I want you to make lots of money. And eventually, when I got to know them at a deeper level, what I found was they actually don't want you to buy real estate. And it's a fact, some of them don't. Because if you have $100,000, they have $100,000 course for you. If you have $50,000, they have $50,000 course for you. One of the guru came to me and said, look, you're too much of a competition for me. Shut down the private investment club. Just speak for me. And you're only going to work every second weekend, 3 days a weekend, and every second weekend, and I'll pay you $250,000 plus some other stuff. I would say you're going to make about $700,000 to $800,000. But shut your private investment club down, sell my stuff. I'm like, wow. A guy that I respect is asking me to speak for him. Wow, I don't have to do da. I thought connections, and I said, great. So I go to him, and he says, okay, what we're going to discuss today is this. I want to tell you that we don't want our students to buy any properties. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I was like up here, and then what do you mean? He goes, you see, if they buy the properties, they don't have money to buy our stuff. I'm like, well, isn't that the opposite, exact opposite of what you're telling everybody? And they go, look, we're in this business of doing this. And I said to him, give me 3 days, because I didn't know what to say. You know, you go home. I went to my wife, and we talked about it. And at the end of the day, I said one thing. When I look at myself in the mirror, and if I say to you, look, you should buy properties, but in reality, I'm not hoping that you don't buy properties, so I went back to that guru that I respected, and I said, no, I won't do it. Isn't that good or what? Yes. So I sat there and I said, look, regular people, Nan says front end, back door, or something like that. I say that the world is still the OBG. What's OBG? Old Boys Club. I found out that if I knew him, I mean, I knew that, and we're all intelligent, we know that. If our uncle was a multimillionaire or was a mayor or someplace or a huge businessman and all that stuff, and everybody's applying, let's say you're applying for a job to that place. Everybody has to put an application, the interview, go through the lady that's at the front desk and all that kind of stuff. What if your uncle was the owner of the company and you wanted to get a job? You think your uncle is going to say, if he likes you, hopefully, he's going to say, oh, yeah, maybe you are going to write an application, okay? And maybe you're going to go to an interview. But who's really going to get the job? I found out if you know people, smart people, intelligent people, successful people, then it gets easier to become wealthy. And regular people don't have that access. And I'm sick and tired of, my parents and us being the regular people. Regular people. Everybody else can go behind the scene and make millions of dollars, and we can't. Private Investment Club came out, and I said, why don't I make the Old Boys Club for regular people? Why don't I get them connections? Why don't I get them to the right people?